All right, guys, we are back here at Shattered Darkness. As always, we just want to say thank you to our listeners, our subscribers. You guys are awesome. We have noticed some growth, over the last month. I think we had like 5 to 10 new subscribers on YouTube. So I just want to remind you guys, like, if we can get to 500 and a certain amount of hours of our content played, plus there's like one other caveat I can't really remember right now, but we get to that point, like YouTube will start to pay us for ad space and things like that. So we'll take that money, dump it back into production, and just be on the Buzz group and just make this whole thing the best that we possibly can for you guys. So anyways, I just want to say thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, like, share, do all the things. We appreciate you guys. But today we have a good friend of ours. His name is Hän Cassera. And Han just opened the Love Shack Mocktail Bar on 4th Street in downtown Loveland. And you guys probably remember, but that's where we're having our Beyond the Buzz meetings every other Thursday. So the space is absolutely incredible. Dude, you crushed it. It looks so good. So I just want to introduce Han. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm excited. Second podcast ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
What was the first one?
Good old...
That's what I was wondering.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Didn't make the cut. Yeah, didn't make the cut. It's too intense, so we'll see how today goes. So if I go 2 for 2, we're not getting here.
The more intense you are, the better. Here.
Oh, you say that now?
Let's get into it, dude.
It's going to be real raw and real open and willing and honest, or honest, open, willing. Is that how?
Honest, open, and willing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like vulnerability to a T,
I think that's what they say in the
That's why
rooms.
we lead with that, right? Like vulnerability is the one that kind of like leads you into the rest of it.
Well, I mean, like the whole thing with sobriety with me is that I feel like growing up, I was raised by parents who were very perfectionist. They wanted me to be my best form, which is great, until you start acting a certain way to get that approval from people.
Right.
And then it starts creating this whole pattern of like, you don't have self-worth. Your worth comes from other people, which sucks because there's a lot of barriers I had to break down with that. And through my 20s, it was, I graduated early from high school to go straight into college to be a PE teacher, just like Dad. I mean, I loved sports and I loved, doing sports and then teaching people how to be active and stay healthy was cool. But I think I did that to please him because I wanted to be like Dad. And
did you enjoy the PE stuff? Like,
I loved it. Yeah. I loved teaching and seeing the light bulb go off and seeing kids push through those moments of like, I can't do this. I was like, no, you can. Yeah. You just have to believe. And then seeing that, but the whole education system itself is what steered me away, and drugs and alcohol, because I started DJing in my first teaching job. The kids were like, play this song for the workout of the day. I was like, okay. Next thing you know, I'm DJing the school dance off an iPad, and they paid me like a Sports Authority gift card. I was like, all right, cool. And then I'm at the bars DJing off, equipment that was donated to me. And then everything, I think God literally made me into a DJ to realize that like I love connecting with people and dancing and moving and figuring out how to stay social beyond teaching. And then that's when the drugs and alcohol started, is all my friends, do this, do that. And I didn't do that during high school. I drank a little bit, but it was athletics, it was staying focused in school. And then I hit 22 and it was like, everybody's doing dabs and doing Molly and all these drugs. And I was like, okay, you guys are doing it. Let's do it as well.
Well, and that lifestyle too. I mean, that's so honestly, bro, it's kind of a no-brainer, you know?
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit more about your childhood. Were your parents spiritual people, religious?
No, we went to an Episcopalian church, Christmas and Easter. Yeah. And never really, they believed. They didn't like push that on me. It was not something that we discussed. And so I really grew up without any kind of spiritual connection to a higher power. And then that first teaching job, I was with my other teaching partner, and he was very much Christian and got me into the church. And so I had about a 2-year religious stint, is what I'm going to call it, sure. Where I went full 100% in. I wanted to try it. I wanted to give it my all. I was saved, believed in Jesus. I was a youth pastor. I did all the things. Oh yeah.
Wow.
And one thing led to another, and I I let the people steer me out of the church. Still having a connection to a higher power, but there was definitely religious trauma with that I had to break down in my steps for the program. And so now it's nice to have like a spiritual connection with a higher power. And I don't know that I sit here and this was kind of the thing on the last podcast, is like, I don't sit here and claim to believe in Jesus and this religious thing that did burn me so bad. But I do believe there's something greater out there, and that I'm not God, and I'll never be God. And I give over that director card to a higher being. And I think for me, it's hard for me to identify what that is, and just to say it is. There is something.
Yeah.
And I can focus on trying to identify what that is, or I can just respect that it is and pray to this being that has got me into this seat right here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my higher power.
Yeah.
And that's hard for some people to hear when they believe so firmly in what they believe. And I don't ever say, don't believe in this or believe in this to somebody else. I've never walked a day in your guys' shoes. You never walked a day in mine, and I can't tell you how to live. I can tell you what I've gone through and what's helped me stay sober. And I know that the second that I surrendered to that greater good is when my life kind of changed.
100%.
So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Dude, there's a guy in this place I go to every Tuesday morning, dude, he's like really come out as like a Bible thumper.
Yeah.
And it got heated this week.
Yeah.
I just sat back and watched because
Yeah.
it was with another guy. And I'm like, dude, you're pushing religion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to live by Jesus's word.
Yeah.
Love everybody, accept everybody. Like, don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Well, and it's I can't remember what book of the Bible it's in, but somebody asked God or Jesus, like, what are the greatest two commandments, or what's the greatest commandment?
Yeah.
And it was to love God and love people.
Yeah.
And everything else hinges off those two things.
Yeah.
So, and that's where it's like, you get into the religious side of it, because I grew up very much in the church, and legalistic, had to perform, fear God kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's caused me to go back to the Bible and be like, no, I'm going to read this like I'm very open-minded, right? Like, I'm going to make my own opinions about Jesus and the mission and all of that kind of stuff. And it's been really cool, man. Like, eye-opening, and it's awesome, dude. Like, I've just realized the things that I learned as a kid were probably not accurate,
Definitely.
So
Well, maybe not accurate, but from a certain lens.
right.
Yeah.
That's what we do as Westerners, to read the Bible like so literally A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
When the whole Bible is not written that way.
Yeah.
And it's been altered so many times.
Dude,
It's like
honestly, dude, I really feel like it was just weaponized against our generation.
which is sad.
It is sad, and that's not God. Like, and that's what I can try to continue to tell people. But, dude, that's cool. I like the way that you explain that too, because we don't know.
No.
I have no idea.
we'll never know.
That's why they call us believers, not knowers.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
so it's like, I just know that this belief system and this way that I operate my life is the best way that I've ever done it, And so, and I know that, like you said, that's at the heart of it.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your journey into the addiction side of things. So you started DJing at 22.
Yeah, left the education system, moved from Grand Junction to Denver to follow the path of a young local DJ, and I was, right at the cusp of like getting ready to like blow up and probably tour and do stuff like that. I mean, that's the goal with that kind of level of DJing, but I realized that I did not like or want that lifestyle with the constant traveling and not like sleeping in my own bed, and I have dogs and I like consistency and routine, and that was kind of like the friction. And so there were nights where I would go home from the club, and I'd go to the club in Denver 3 to 4 nights a week, whether I was DJing or supporting other people. Right. It was always beer in my hand, drinking to fit in with others. It was not booze was not a thing that I had to drink every day to feel well. Like, that's what I thought an alcoholic was. But it was very much a social thing. I thought I had to be inhibited in some way. My drug of choice was marijuana. I was all day, every day stoner from the time I was 19 till 610 days ago when I quit smoking weed. But that was what I used when I was not accepting life on life's terms. So, somebody pissed me off, hit the pen. Going to the grocery store, hit the pen. I mean, I was constantly stoned. I think there was maybe like 1 or 2 weeks where I didn't smoke, and that, what am I, 36? Do the math. That's 19 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So yeah, crazy to think that was what I was using to cope with everything. And then experimenting with it, just the amount of people I saw messed up in the clubs or at Red Rocks, and the things that I did to experiment and really decide for myself that I didn't like being out of control of my body and being unsafe. I got assaulted in 2021 up at Fort Collins. I was crossfaded and got punched in the jaw and had to have my mouth wired shut for 8 weeks. So like I've dealt with a lot of stuff with my drinking and drugs, but like never to the point where I had to like go to rehab and things like that. It was always just like I had a problem with it. But I got hit with the pandemic pretty hard, and I recognized that everybody was increasing I remember the day in Denver where they were like, we're shutting down the liquor stores and the dispensaries. And I took off on my longboard. I was like, I got to go get my weed. And everybody was panicking. It was like hours. And it was just like, ew, that resonated something with me. I was like, this doesn't feel good, that like it's going to create this thing where everybody's drinking at home more. And so I decided to get sober from booze in the fall of 2020 when everything, or I guess that would have been spring of 2020. I don't know. It's all blur. It's a survival mode
in March of 2020.
Okay, yeah. So that's the last show, Cervantes, and then it was like, all right, I'm gonna quit drinking. So I did a full year without drinking. I was still smoking, so I wasn't completely sober. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna reset my tolerance to booze. Like I thought that was what it would take. But during that time of not being able to be in the clubs, I realized that I did like peace a lot more than I liked the chaos. And I love dancing. I love still DJing. Yeah. But the environment in Denver is that at any night of the week you can go out and you can party. Yeah. And then, thankfully didn't get involved in like the cocaine stuff, because that's how you keep on partying till 5 a.m. in the morning. I never liked that. Definitely tried it a couple of times, but it was like, I had to go through all of that to get to where I'm at. If I didn't have those experiences, then like why am I the one opening a sober bar? Like I had to live through all that to get to this point to be like, okay, I experienced it. I was doing it for a reason, because I did not love myself. I did not feel like I was enough to be me.
Did you feel awkward in like social situations if you weren't intoxicated?
Absolutely. My pain and discomfort goes way beyond just fitting in socially. I physically, mentally, emotionally did not feel like I was myself. I didn't feel like I was in the right. I feel like my spirit was very I had that hole, like I had the hole that I was trying to fill the booze and the drugs with, and for a long time I just felt like I wasn't going to live, like I was going to die in a horrific accident. I was like, letting down my parents by not being a teacher anymore, and they would say constantly like, you're really going to throw away your degree, you're going to do the DJ thing. It's like, yeah. And then I was doing like all the gig work jobs, so Instacart, Lyft, DoorDash, and that was allowing me to like live this lifestyle where there was no accountability, because if I don't go to work, it's not like my boss is calling me. I didn't have a boss, it was me. I was having to take care of me. And so going from you have to be up at a certain time, because if you're not there, who's going to teach the kids, to I can get up, get stoned, go grocery shop for people, make a living, and then by night I'm partying with friends and doing my own thing. And it was very like rebellious, like I just was like, day to day, every day was a new day, and I never had the same day twice, ever. I was like crazy, delivering 500 pounds of ice to one business one day, and then going to like the tallest building in Denver the next day. And it was just like really fun and very much dopamine chasing. Like it wasn't consistent. And then when the pandemic happened, it just slowed everything down, and I had to sit with myself, and then like not drinking and not realizing that like I really didn't have close friends. I just had I don't know if I use the word groupies, but like I just had fans.
Yeah.
I just had fans, and people would come up to me at the end of the show and be like, "Oh, dude, I'm your biggest fan. I love you so much." And I'd be like, "What's my real name?" Like, because they just knew my DJ name or whatever. And the unauthentic feeling of like not feeling like it was like a double life. Like I was DJ Quesadilla, like stupid stuff. Just, and it was fun. And I promoted drinking and using drugs, and it makes me cringe to think that like I had a lot of fun doing that, and I did take a lot of pride in like creating this buzz around my name, but that to my core was not me. And to mask all that internalized like hatred on myself was pretty intense. And then you just add this whole another level of like career wise, like, yeah, what am I doing? Am I just going to be I don't want to say it like a bad thing. Like, people make money off of being a DJ. There's plenty of rich people.
I get what you're saying, because there's a mentality there, right? Like,
and there's a stigma.
Well, exactly. And that's like, and I mean, fuck, man, that's exactly what we're trying to do, is destigmatize all of this stuff, right? Like, so, but absolutely, like, I could see why that mentality, like, that's going to be impossible to stay sober in that environment.
Yeah. And there are DJs that have been doing it and have been more vocal about it. And it's been cool to see that kind of like rise of people being like, for you to be able to do that in that environment, when that's like most of the DJs, they make their money off of like making people, I mean, Subtronics is one of the main ones, is like, he's up there on the mic just being like, make sure you smoke weed every day and get high and blah, blah. And it's like me now versus me then. I'm like, yeah, dude. And now I'm just like, oh, if I smoke weed, I'm going to end up back in Weld County jail. Like, dude, that's what's going to get me to back to jail. So
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You keep saying that something about, you keep alluding to this self-hatred.
Yeah.
Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, if you want it. You're asking for it. He's laughing. Yeah. My whole life, I wanted to do things, asked to do things, was not allowed to do things, because back in that day, you just didn't do it. I wanted to play baseball. I wanted to play football. I wanted to do all the things. I couldn't, because I was born female. And so dad was baseball coach. No, you don't want to play baseball. You don't want to hear what the dudes say in the dugout. And I'm like, I'm saying the same thing to the softball girls, you know, like that's your reason. No, it's like, there was not this conversation around what being trans was back then. It wasn't accepted. I didn't know anybody. It was this thing that I could not feel to my core because I didn't have the support for it. And the pandemic shut all of that into the forefront of my mind of like, I'm so sick of laying my head down at night and feeling worthless, feeling like I have no life. And if this is basically the analogy I use all the time, because everybody knows what it feels like to have a rock in your shoe and you're trying to like walk and you're like, damn, dude, I got a rock in my shoe. You take the shoe off, shake the rock out. You think you got it out. You put the shoe back on, rock's still in there. You're not enjoying the walk. You're not enjoying the scenery. You're just focused on the rock and you're like, damn it. Like, I can't even enjoy this walk. I've got this rock in my shoe. So I finally got so fed up to the point where I was like, either I'm not going to be here or I'm going to do whatever it takes to be happy. And that was really hard for me to be like, I'm going to lose everyone. My parents aren't going to understand. My friends aren't going to get it because I'm this gorgeous woman with this long hair and everybody thinks I'm beautiful. And yes, I was beautiful. And it's really fucking weird to like think about that externally, but inside it was like my soul and my spirit was screaming, I just want to love myself and I don't care who sticks around or who goes, because at the end of the day, I have to do what's right for me and no one can tell me how to be happy. And so the pandemic, slowed down. I wasn't DJing. And so I was like, I need to get away from this environment. And so when I moved up here as my old self. And then the first week, I remember talking to my landlord being like, hey, I know I just signed the lease as this, but like I'm now going by this and I'm going to transition and start that process up here with a, fresh environment. And he was like, that's crazy. The person that just moved out was trans. I was like, am I in a portal trans house or what's going on? And it was really hard. My parents didn't get it, even though I was like this little tomboy, there were signs and it wasn't this like crazy thing, but I think they were more astonished that I was actually going to follow through with it, because of obviously the fear of like the rhetoric behind it, that there's this, we're created to be this enemy, that there's an ignorance around it. And I was ignorant to it. I was transphobic on myself as I came out, because I didn't know that self-love has to come from self. And so the two best things I've ever done for myself is be authentically me, be Hän, and then get sober. And so coming out and not being sober was so hard in the first year, because I was just drinking and using and trying to mask this internalized hate of like, no one's ever going to love you. You're gross. You're, you're this foreign thing. You're this monster, and it took lots of therapy and lots of time and working my steps and realizing that I don't need to please other people, that their approval doesn't fill my hole. What fills my hole, my soul hole, is that I respect myself. And to do that, I had to get sober to see and sit with all the things that I was doing for this destructive lifestyle. And it was hard. My parents...
Can't imagine.
It's 30 years old. And so I can't even imagine being young, being, a teenager, being young 20s, and having to stand on that backbone of like, you either love me or you get the fuck out.
Yeah.
That's some of the conversations. And I lost a lot of like close girlfriends because their hatred for men. And now I'm appearing to be this man. And it's honestly the funnest part of this whole thing is I haven't seen some people from Grand Junction in years, and I'll see them at like a rave or something, because I still go sometimes, and I'll see them out in the wild, and I'll start walking up to them, and I'm just like this dude walking up to them, and they're just like giving me this like, the fuck is this dude doing? And then all of a sudden I smile, and my smile gives it away, because that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And they're just like, holy shit, dude, what the fuck? And I'm like, I know, right? A whole ass dude right here. And they're just like, you look so good. It's not just the physical, you just look like you. And I'm like, yeah, because I feel comfortable in my skin. I'm not going home after a show or performance and crying myself to sleep thinking about just nitpicking like transitions. Like, everybody's fucked up. No one cares if I bombed a transition or not. It was all about like, I was just nitpicking at all like my defects and all these things that I just had to let go of. Like, no one cares. We're all dealing with our own shit. And so it was that like really just owning who I am and being able to step into this light of, a lot of people still won't get it, especially in this day and age. And I have a lot of hard conversations at the bar, because people don't know I am, and then we'll be sitting there talking, and I'll feel like, okay, this person is safe, and I'll be like, yeah, and I'm trans, and so this sober bar that I've created is also a safe space for people like me. And they'll just see like the wheels turning in their head. They'll be like, so you're transitioning from guy to girl? I'm like, nope. Thank you so much for that. No, it was born female, and then it's just like I blow this conception that they have of people like me, because some people have never talked to a trans person. And it's sad, because we get this feed of media of things we don't get, and that's on any side of the spectrum. There's extremists in everything, religious extremists, there's so many things that can steer us away from the truth of we are all human beings. And I never once regretted a day of being sober and being trans. And yeah, there's days that's hard where I fear for my safety, but at the end of the day, I'm being me. I don't have to hide that. And to be able to be out and open and myself gives other people the hope that they can do that. It may not be on a trans experience, but we've all in one shape or form been told, no, you have to fit inside this box, and don't you dare get out of that box, because that makes you different and means you're less than. And my self-worth with getting sober has absolutely skyrocketed. Like, I know I deserve to be here. I know what I'm doing, not as a person that's trans, as a person who believes in the greater good and believes in people being happy and being themselves and owning who they are, as long as they're not hurting people. Like, what am I doing? Me being trans, does that hurt anybody? It might hurt something within them that makes them think about themselves.
Yeah. Well, and I think honestly, it is a foreign thing to us,
Yep.
And, but at the same time, dude, like, my perspective on all of this goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of this. Like, what are the two greatest commandments?
Yep.
love God and love people.
Yep.
It's not my place to judge
Yep.
the decisions that you make in your life. That's between, in my opinion, you and your creator.
Yep.
You know, and I'm here to have conversations with people that maybe I don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, and to listen.
Yeah.
And to hear it, because your story is obviously filled with a ton of pain.
Yeah.
And triumph, and also, you know, and transition and all of that stuff. And I mean, it's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
You know, and coming into who you are, like, and sowing positivity into the world, like, for anybody that has a problem with that, they can go fuck themselves.
Exactly.
You know, and
it makes people think about what they have.
Them,
yep.
Right? It's taking something away from them, or it's challenging their belief system, or it's challenging them in some way to go outside of their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. You know, and differences in humanity always do that.
Yep.
And it's no different than anything that we've ever struggled with race, slavery, all that kind of shit, dude. Like, it's just a difference of opinion.
Yep.
And I want to be the kind of person that has respect for that and can sit down in a room with you and tell you that I think you're an amazing person.
Thank you.
And what you're sowing into the world is something that I will and want to support.
Definitely.
You know, and at the end of the day, I don't have to understand it all.
Nope. No one does.
You know, and that's okay. Like, I just need to show up for myself, for my family, for the people that God puts in my life. Mm-hmm. And that's my role in this world, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Is to just share my experiences and hope that people will listen and not go down the same road.
For sure.
So I'm proud of you, man. I think... And pronouns is he, him?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I think I've called you he, him since I met you. But
I mean, honestly, it's funny in the beginning. It's like I stepped right into it and I committed, and it was so hard. That was so hard to hear that she, from parents, and sometimes they'll honestly still slip up. And I have gotten to the point, it's like, them calling me she, or accidentally dead naming me and calling me the name that I was called for 30 years is no reflection of who I am today. And it's like, I'm grateful that I had to go through the suffering of all of that. And it's been a process, especially lately. I've, been talking to some people, and they've really been like, they're novice to this whole thing. They've never had a trans friend. They've never been around somebody like me, to the point where it's like they're learning so much and they have all these questions. And before, I'd be like, I'm not here to educate people. And it's like, no, I get to educate people. Yeah. I get to share my story. And with that, I'm grateful.
Well, and the more, I think it's like this, dude, this whole sobriety thing, the more you talk about it, right? The more you bring it up, the more you're honest about it, vulnerable about it. Like, I think the more people will start to understand.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think one normal person sitting in this room listening to your story is going to be like, dude, fuck you. Like
maybe Elliot, or maybe Rocky. Rocky, judging me.
He's a judgmental.
He's looking away. He's like, man, I thought this guy was cool. And
But no, I really appreciate you going into that, because I wanted to ask, but I wasn't sure how you would respond to it.
Yeah, no.
And dude, like hard. The amount of resiliency, like, I can't imagine, like, you're stepping into something that nobody outside of that world understands. And that's, I mean, you're painting a target on yourself, essentially.
Yep. And then I'm taking it another step further and doing a business where people don't understand, like you told me earlier, like, why are you doing a sober meetup at a bar? It's like, well, it's a sober bar. It's like, that's still a bar. It's like, well, they have this idea, they think bar, and it brings them to all these times they're drinking. But it's like, anybody who has come into the Love Shack can know through experience that the energy shift that you get in there is, it looks, sounds, almost feels like a bar, but the second you step in, you're like, this is different. I agree. There's no this toxic thing. There's safety. There's, even the calmness and volume. Like, there's rarely, I mean, you got a few energetic people. I was kind of energetic yesterday, but we were close. But nobody's like raising their voice, because in a regular bar, the TVs are going, the music is going. And so what does that make? People talk louder. And then it's just louder, and it's just energy. That energy is very heightened, and you're constantly like, what's going to pop off? Is somebody, took one too many shots, and he's going to start a fight? It's like, there isn't that. And so there is this expected energy when they come in. And we've had a few situations where it's challenged that, but they've been handled so calmly, because it's like, we're not going to rise to that. We're going to bring them down and be like, look, we're not doing that here. You can go to any other bar on the street, but this is the only bar where you cannot do that. And it's been really cool to see not only the people that are sober, but that are still in active addiction and don't even know that they've walked into a place that is kind of making them go, "Ooh, why am I here? This is kind of interesting."
How often does that happen?
A lot.
Really?
And God sends me people every day that remind me why I am sober. Between the breath of alcohol, breathing on me, and I'm just
crazy
like,
how much,
like what?
dude, it's crazy. My wife will take a sip,
Yeah.
and I can fucking smell it,
Yeah.
like 5 feet away.
Yeah, it's like I got spidey senses or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. It's
But
crazy.
the conversations, the hurt and the pain,
Yeah.
and it brings me back to, I say, like, I went to jail and my freedom was stripped from me, but I was in jail a long time before I went to Weld County jail. Like I was so trapped, not only in my existence of who I was and who I was comfortable in my body, but in this like entrapment of, I was a slave to drugs and alcohol. I had to have it to feel like I was a part of something. And now my freedom is, I can handle anything that life throws at me and not have to crutch on that. I can actually feel and deal, and I'm not just pushing things under the rug. And yeah, it sucks some days. It sucks a lot of days, but I've never regretted one day in sobriety like I did when I was using, and that's empowering for sure.
You said something through that you said, you just went through the struggle and it was really good. Why was that struggle good for you?
If you don't struggle and you don't feel what it's like to not have like that joy and like the things that you truly do deserve, then it makes you grateful for the moments that you do have it. And I think writing like gratitude lists, even in the days where we get caught up in the stupid shit, like, oh, I've got to do this, I've my never ending to-do list, or minor things that happen, and you focus on that, and it's like, holy crap, but I have a place to live. I have friends and family that care about me. I'm able to feed myself today. I have 2 dogs that are healthy. I built a business that is thriving and is changing lives. Like, why am I giving energy to the things that are so insignificant?
What does that do to you physiologically?
Oh, man. I feel like I have purpose, and I have this greater sense of belonging. Whereas before, like I said, I thought I was going to die in this, like, I didn't have hope. Yeah. And then having hope shows other people to have hope. Right. And it just creates this huge energy force, because you hear people's situations where they come in, they're like, oh my God, I'm so glad this exists for me, or because my friend and this, or, my dad. And even now I'm just like getting goosebumps, and it's just like, it's a spiritual thing. Yep. And lately I've been in a mad spiritual battle, because I'm doing something that people at first glance don't get. And then they see that this like queer person is created a space, and then they get this kind of like resentment thing going. They're like, I'm not going to go in there to support them because they got the pride flag up. And it's like, it's a flag, dude. Like, it shows people that they can be safe in my space and that they belong there. And it's not a gay bar, it's not a gay sober bar. It's a place where people can go and feel safe. And we don't even need to call it a bar. It's a space. You can call it a restaurant. You can call it an establishment. Just the fact that it's easier to call it a sober bar kind of rolls off the tongue. And
I just call it a bar, dude. Yeah. Like, people are like, wait, you're meeting for sobriety at a bar? I'm like, yeah, it's Mocktail.
Yeah. And it's, it's bigger than I ever thought it would be. And just the space alone. I mean, I had the vision, the pool tables and the things, but like truly all the businesses and the locations that I looked at before and I didn't get, and I was like, oh, this is not going to happen because I didn't get this location, and this location, and this location. And how many times that I was denied a space until God literally brought me into this place, and they were asking me to come and share the space with them. Like, that to me, I was going, okay, this is not how I would have wrote it. Like, never in my wildest dreams 2 years ago when I sat down with a business consultant, if she would have said, hey, what would you do if a bar asked you to come and use the space on Sunday, Mondays, and Tuesdays while they drink on Wednesday through Saturday, and you have to set up the entire bar and take down the entire bar in 3 days? Like, I will cry right now thinking about how painful that experience was, because not only physically did it destroy my body because I couldn't afford to like hire other people, but I was literally setting up a bar every Sunday morning and feeling the energy of like people were drinking in here last night. What the fuck am I doing? Having to have them all the wells pulled out and locked away, and taking off the keg handles and locking up the beers and stuff and covering them. And there's still booze in the energy. And I was going, this isn't going to work. Like, people are so confused. I'm confused. Like, what am I doing? And I just told myself, like, I'm doing it because I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And it's that pull of the higher power that was just, I have to. This is so much greater than me. And at first I started it because I was like, I want to still DJ. I had that like friction. Okay, I'm getting sober. Am I still going to DJ? Because how do I DJ in an environment that is surrounded by it?
Right.
And where are the environments that are not surrounded by it? And I found out about Kava and Kratom bars. And at first it was going to be a Kava and Kratom bar because obviously that already exists. So just copy that, but for what you want to do. And then I started going to these places and they were like, dude, don't serve kratom, it's addictive. And I heard those sirens going off. Like, I'm not gonna open something that still makes people addicted to something that's not good.
That same,
so I had to crash that idea of like, I can't do something that's already been done. I have to do something different. And there are other sober spaces across the country, but there's nothing here. And so there still is. I hear people walk in front of the bar and go, this place isn't going to make it. I don't think they're going to do it.
I love that stuff.
Everything, yeah.
And you know what? When I hear stuff like that, I'm like, all right, we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know?
Haters, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, dude. Like, I love it. And I've always kind of like, I want to be a disruptor.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, everybody's going this direction.
Yeah.
Fucking why?
Yeah.
You know? Like, why are we all just submitting to this disease of alcoholism, shoving people in a corner and being like, you know what, I don't really want to deal with that.
No.
You know,
4 years ago, I would have walked by and been like,
yeah, exactly, dude.
What's the point?
Well, and I was the guy that was like so in it, dude. That's like, I would drink it if somebody wasn't drinking. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I was the worst.
Yeah.
So that's
because you don't want to feel less than somebody's doing something better than you. You're like, no, get on my level.
Yeah,
Come down
misery
here.
loves company, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I got to pause for a second. I have to go to the bathroom.
You got pause.
All right. I'm sorry.
It's so hard for me not to do like the office. Office look. Rocky's like, we gotta go.
That's a good look, like The Office is.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that show. It's good.
It's probably the best show out.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of good ones, but
Yeah.
I think with The Office, it's just so. I don't want to say if it's unique because it's a copy of the English show. Have you seen all the ones that are copying it?
No.
There's a Doctor Office one.
Oh my god.
And there's a oh man,
a new one called like Paper. It's like a continuation of The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a straight up rip of it. It's with maybe well because I guess it's got to be spinoff because what's the Oscars in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Oscar. Yeah. Oh, Michael Scott.
Did you watch it after Michael Scott, or like I've never really watched as much as I have the first ones with him as the ones afterwards.
I mean, it's been years, but I feel like it's funny because it's like thinking about all the shows that I watched when I was stoned and just like constantly like oh, let's get baked and watch 14 hours straight of TV.
Right.
You know
what's nice about being sober though? I don't do that anymore.
No.
What?
Binge anything?
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
Like I do Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, man. That's a fucking great show.
Man, I just said The Office was the best, but Game of Thrones was
It's
right there.
fucking good.
Still, I'm
see
trying
it all?
to not get shows anymore.
Sopranos
So
was
hard.
really good. But that's what we used to do.
I
Though. We
hated
would just
the
sit
ending
around
of
and
Game of
smoke
Thrones.
weed and just be in front of the
Well,
TV.
now's the time where this happens because it's dark for most of the day,
Right.
and so it's like the evenings you're like, oh, it's time to go to bed. No, it's only 7 o'clock. I'll just watch TV, and then you're just watching TV for hours and hours. It's so dark.
My body clock is still good.
I'm not gonna lie, dude.
At 7, no problem.
Yeah.
My problem's video games.
Yeah, I can't.
I love playing video games.
I can't start it because it'll take.
I know that's like I don't know. I love it, and it's like sports, man, like hockey and Madden, and it's like,
Dude, did I see that in Connor? Like all of our tendencies, of just getting way into video games.
Yeah.
And
dude, there's nothing wrong with it, man. It's $1 billion industry.
well,
Escape reality for a little bit.
escaping reality, dude. and then freaking out if you die, or like when it's time to be done.
Yeah, you did all that work.
Like, I feel like it's pulling away the bottle from someone or crack or something. Like,
Probably.
that's extreme, but
For
like,
sure.
dude, if you just get so sucked into it and you can't turn it off and you forget what everything's around you, then that's a problem.
My thing is, I'll pay for like, if I get into like last year, I got into like the stupid like build your little thing on the phone, like build your little town or whatever. And next thing you know, I'm paying for like credits. I'm like, what am I doing?
Exactly.
So I can keep playing.
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
like, I'm an addict.
And you'd rather not
$50.
Oh, dude, we did that too. We'd all have Clash of Clans and like wait for an hour and a half for your shit to build or pay $1.
Yeah.
Paying $1.
Yeah, right. It's
like,
$1.
Shit, $40 later.
Yeah. Well, and I used to work in college. I worked at a pool hall that had an off-track betting facility in the front. So it's 13 pool tables. And that's my love of pool comes from that. And they were like, "Oh, you're smart. You can do math. We'll stick you in the OTB." And so I'd be like on the little machines pumping out these bets for all these retired old golfers. Honestly, and the farmers, and they'd be, "Oh, can I get a 1, 2, 3 trifecta?" And I'm like, and I'm just like making money. But then like on the nights where it's slow and I have 20 TVs of races in front of me and nobody's around, even though I'm on camera, I'm going, it's a penny bet. Well, then at the end of the night, I'm paying into the thing. I'd go to the ATM so many times at the end of my shift because I was just betting and losing. I was like, "Oh, I'll get it back. Like,
Chasing losses.
Yeah, dude, that's one thing I'm grateful that I never struggled with. Like, was gambling.
Me.
You know, Oklahoma, and there's a track out there. Every time we go to a Sanders game, we go to one. It is awesome. We brought Connor.
Oh, I definitely think it's fun.
It's cool to do like the one time. Like I feel like
we always give ourselves a limit. You know, it's like here's $500. Once we blow that, we're done.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's rad. They go there, you eat a nice dinner, and then you like if you wanted to bet, we could. You know, like $5.
Yeah.
There's no minimum, but like Connor and my boss's son was there, and they were just like, "All right, who's your horse?" You know, we watched like 4 or 5 races.
Did you guys win anything?
Well, we never bet. But we were just
watching
like
it.
French fries.
All right, yeah, that makes sense.
French fries.
Hot Wheels cars, man. Here we go.
Plus 3 wins, and you get all the French fries. That's what
No, definitely.
Dude, I want to say is something about your story, and obviously I know that there is a lot more to Hän Cassera. And I think we should get back and talk about that. Your life just seems very interesting.
Totally.
But dude, one thing I've noticed is I think the more pain that we're willing to accept in our life and go through, the greater the triumph. Mm-hmm. Right? I look at you now with this. I mean, how many square feet is that fucking bar? 2,500 square feet?
55.
55. There you go. That makes sense. It's massive.
It's insane.
You know, and it's just to watch this vision come to fruition, you know, and then to be even a small part of it. Like, I feel honored, you know, because hearing your journey and how you got here, like, it blows my mind, man. Your resiliency and just how dedicated you were to what you believed in. Yeah. You know, and that's what it requires, you know, and just blocking out the noise.
Yeah.
Everything else. The other thing I wanted to ask you, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but were your parents supportive of you through your transition? Like, do you have a good relationship with them?
We do now. My mom and I have had, this year's been the best year of our entire like relationship.
That's awesome.
We've gone to 3 different concerts, pretty epic concerts. She lives in Grand Junction still. Dad moved back to Maryland and take care of grandma. I haven't seen him in over 2 years. He's supposed to be coming out soon. He would come out every year, sometimes twice a year, to be able to visit, but I haven't seen him in a couple of years, and so that's kind of like hard because when you're.
Do you talk to him? Or?
Yeah, we talk. It's hard because I think the people that are around me every day and they see me and they get the practice of talking to me, and then you get this disconnect when you're on the phone, and it's just harder. And in the beginning, there was this friction. You know, mom's new husband very much like did not want to call me what I wanted to be called. His grandchildren from his son, so like my stepbrother's kids, were super young, and they didn't want to explain to them, even though they were like 2 or 3, so they wouldn't really know anyway. It's just like, hey, we're calling Han now. So there was a lot of friction in the beginning where it was like 6 months I didn't talk to her, kind of put her in timeout. I used that very loosely. I just said, like, this is what's going to be. And then if you can't respect it, then we're not going to have a relationship, and that would really suck. But I have to stand on what I believe is right for me. And it really hurts that your intention is to hurt me by continuing to call me these certain things. And people can mess up all the time, but is their intent to, like, make it right? Are they doing it maliciously? And, like, and that was with everybody. And it was hard for, like, the people that have known me my whole life to get adjusted. But obviously, like, the people that were like, hey, I just looked at a picture of you now, and then I said Han, and they would tell me this, like, this is what I had to do to, like, literally change my brain. And there's sometimes where it's once in a blue moon, and I'll call myself by my old name, or I'll go to sign my name and I'll accidentally keep going because unfortunately I decided to chop off half of my old name, and that just made it difficult. But
what was your old name?
Hannah. So they called me Han as a kid, Han Banan, and then I decided, like, I can't name myself after all the, like, boy students that I had because they were all like, I don't know, I'm going to name myself after a family member that already exists. Like, hey, Uncle John, guess what? I'm Little John now. Like, what the fuck? Like, how do you choose a name? And then, like, anything that it's associated with, like, famous people or whatever. And I was like, all right, Han Solo's not that bad. I've already got Chewie and Leia as a dog, and it's just a little bit of adjustment. And people still call me Han. Like, if I go to something and I, like, write my name on it and they've never heard me say it, they'll say Han, and that at first would kind of stir up some stuff, but I'm just like, it's better than Hannah. Yeah. It's good, and it makes me cringe to think, like, that was my name. But that's all that with the cringe is that I get mad at myself for not doing it sooner, for not standing up for that little person that wanted to play baseball, that wanted, to have guy friends, that felt so, like, out of touch. I'll never forget, like, one 6th grade birthday party where, hey, come over, we're going to have a professional makeup artist and a photographer, and we're all going to do our makeup and take pictures in the basement. And I got this little Polaroid of what I looked like, a little fucking clown girl, and went home and cried to Mom. I said, this is horrific. I felt like a little boy. And I told her I felt like a little boy at this girl's birthday party, and it made me feel almost like physically sick. And there was, like, all these conversations like, oh, it's just a tomboy. But I look back at all these pictures, every single Halloween, always a dude. Santa, Michael Jackson, all these things. It was like the one day a year I could be whoever I wanted, and nobody's gonna be like, why are you dressing? It's Halloween. It's Halloween. So yeah, it was super hard to come out to them. Some friends, they didn't get it, and I think part of it was that some people were so attracted to me as a girl that it did something to them. Like, whether it was a girl that thought I was attractive as a girl, so then they were just like, but I don't like men, so, like, no, I'm not attracted to you now. Or a guy, like, imagine this, like, you're a guy that is flirting with a girl, and then all of a sudden he's, like, imagine you're young in your 20s, before married or whatever, and you're like, you like this girl, and all of a sudden she's going to be a boy, and you're like, well, I'm not gay, like, right? So it does something to you that you're just like, well, but people are still attracted to me because it's like, it's my soul, it's my essence, and maybe they are physically attracted too. So I'm sorry that I bring out a little bit of gay in everybody, but, like, it's not a bad thing to just be attracted to people, and you don't have to claim to be gay or queer or whatever. Like, you can just love people for who they are, and I'm not here to stir it up, but, like, if that does something on you, then check yourself, because I'm not here to be your therapist or help you figure out what your sexual identity is or isn't or whatever. That's a you problem, and I can't help the other way people look at me. I have to get over that. I can't be this expectation. I can't continue living in the light that you guys want me to be, because I told my parents, at one point, I was like, would you either want to have a dead daughter or an alive and thriving son? Because that's literally, it was life or death. I was like, nope, no more.
Did you ever attempt it?
Yeah. 16, first coming out as a lesbian back then, but denied by first girl that I clicked. I was like, oh, this feels normal. But, like, back then, now that I think about it, it's like, it was almost like Han was trying to, like, come through and be like, oh, I'm this masculine energy, and I, like, found a girl that I liked, and this felt normal, but it was like she denied me, and then that made my whole I felt so ashamed of myself that I was like, no more. Like, I can't feel this amount of shame on myself for who I love or who I feel like I am. And like, let's just end it. And I'm grateful that it didn't work. And that, you know, I've had several moments, before transitioning and a few after that were kind of like linked to like the not being sober, because it was like, I was like so resistant on like truly just being, and it's still being held back and put yourself in this box. Don't be genuinely happy. You don't deserve to be happy. That's such a fucked up feeling to be like, you don't deserve to be happy because XYZ. It's like, I deserve to be happy because I exist. Right. We all deserve it. Right. There's nothing that we have to do or say to deserve that. We all.
It's such a destructive emotion.
Yeah.
You know, and because I've been there before.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I had this friend that, you know, I went through this cycle of like just going through women, dude, like just so broken, you know, and would end it before they were going to end it. And I remember one of my friends picked me up from jail one night. I got a DUI, and she was like this friend that we would just kind of hook up in the interim of all of it, you know, and I just remember saying, dude, like, I don't deserve a good relationship, you know, like I'm much better at being where I'm at right now than being in a successful environment. Yeah. You know, and that was what I really believed. Yep. You know, and it was like the drugs, the alcohol, you just picked me up from jail because I got a DUI. My car is high centered on a boulder fucking 2 miles away, you know, and so it's just like, yeah, dude, I get that. You hate yourself so much. Yeah. You know, and I feel like growing up, I was a lot the same way. Like I wanted to make people happy. I still, to this day, man, like we just did a fear thing where we break through fears. You write it on a board, you break through it, right? Yeah. I wrote my fear down, and it was not having my voice be heard, right? But it's deeper than that, right? And I was like, that's not it. You know, what is it? And it's what people think of me. Mm-hmm. That's truly, at the end of the day, I've always said I don't give a shit what you think of me, but I do. Yeah. I do.
It's a hard one.
You know, and it's like, and I still think that today controls a lot of the things that I do. You know what I mean? And I'm in a service environment in real estate. Yep. You know, we're doing this, and it's like, I have this desire for limelight, right? Like I want people to know me. Yeah. You know, and it's just because I believe that the message in my heart, in my soul, is a good one, right? And it can change the world. So I don't know, man, it's weird, right? Like you go through these emotions and these feelings, and it's just like, I've really realized it's just a guideline, you know? It's like, hey, check yourself. Like, why are you feeling this way? You know, and like you said, I think the people that are willing to go through the hardest shit will find the best rewards. Yep. You know, and so if you're on that precipice right now, like where you're just struggling, you know, like this is such a great story of finding yourself, you know, following your heart, believing in yourself, and doing it in the face of, honestly, dude, a society that doesn't get it, you know, and is scared of it. Yep. You know, it scares people with children, which I don't really understand that. You know, I do to a degree, but at the same time, there's no accountability inside of that as a parent. Yeah. You know, and so I don't know, there's some things like that I do struggle with when I see it in schools and elementary schools and things like that. You know, I always want to ask the question, but at the same time, I want to understand more. Yeah. You know, like that's the thing, is like, I can't sit here and hate on you because I don't know what you've been through. Like you said at the beginning, I haven't walked in your shoes. Yep. You know, and just because you've made these decisions doesn't make you a shitty person. Yeah. In my opinion, it actually makes you somebody that's admirable and inspirational. You know, even though I may disagree with the decisions that you made, like I love who you are as a person. Yeah. You know, and my brother is probably my best friend. You know, my closest confidant. So far apart on the political spectrum, dude. Like, so far apart. And it's hard sometimes, you know, but I'm grateful for that, because it's given me this opportunity to be like, you know what? Let's dive into that. Yeah. Like, why it doesn't matter what he believes. Yeah. His moral compass is what matters, right? Where are your morals at? What are you doing? What are you sowing into the world? Yeah. You know, and if it's good and it's positive, then fucking keep going. Yep. You know,
that's the biggest difference, dude, is there's the people on both sides that push it.
Oh yeah.
That's where the massive problems
It's
are.
the extremists on any side.
And like, I'm not saying one thing or another. If you are pushing it on other people,
Yeah.
that's where the conversations like need to be heightened so that pushing of it stops.
I agree. You know, and there just needs to be a tad bit of acceptance, like for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You know,
Let realize
he who has no sin cast the first stone.
Yeah.
they realize how closer people are to the middle of it.
Yeah.
You know, then they're really not, and except for the extremists and everybody else.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I've never told any young person or any adult or any friend, hey, maybe you should be trans. Or I've never tried to convince anybody of that. I've listened to people's pain, and all I can say is, this is what I've dealt with. And that's what you do in the rooms as well. It's always attraction, not promotion. You're supposed to say what you've been through, and if that clicks with somebody, sweet. But I'm not sitting here to try to make a bunch of people trans. If anything, it's like, why would I want people to have to deal with all the hate that is in this world? Like, if it could be an easier way to do this than an easier, softer way to do this, I would. But at the end of the day, I'm doing what's best for me, and like, no one else can tell me that that's not right.
You're right. You're exactly, and that's where I find inspiration in that. You know, and honestly, it's, dude. I've always said to people with that have kind of gotten into sobriety, right? It becomes a superpower, and it's like I feel like yours is even more, right? Because of the shit that you had to go through to get to where you're at right now, right? Like that's training ground.
Yeah.
You know, that's where you learn to swing a sword.
Yeah.
You know, it's where you grow as a human being. Failure, negativity, hating on yourself, like all of that stuff. But you have to start asking yourself the right questions, you know, and you have to be this disruptor in your mind, you know, like I am not going to stand for where I'm at, what society tells me I need to do. This is what I need. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it with courage and bravery.
And still hasn't been just me. I mean, that higher power has got me through those moments where I don't have enough in me to power through. And I've used the word surrender so many times now. Before getting sober was, you know, surrender. It's athletics. Like, you're giving up. Right? Oh, you're giving up. You're quitting. It's like, no, I'm surrendering to the fact that I don't know everything, and that those things that I don't know or I don't have control over, I have to give that energy back to that higher power, because all the denials or all the places that I didn't get to, or all the people that I didn't keep in my life, were all pushing me to this exact moment. And I have to be grateful for those things. I'm grateful for going to jail. Right. Like, if I didn't go to jail, I wouldn't have been sitting there groveling for this second chance of not pissing away my life, because I had all the things, all the tools, all the, you know, capability of creating this, but I had to hit that bottom, and I had to get to that point of being like, ooh, I don't like it here. Get me the fuck out, and I don't want to come back. And I haven't gone back. And it's those moments where I think about like eating the disgusting food in jail, or like hearing the people talk through the toilets and being like, oh, this is really like the shows, like this is real. They're talking to the toilets right now. Like, I can bring myself back to that moment, because it's that fear of getting my freedom stripped away, and knowing that like I truly do have so much more than I could ever ask for. And this is, I've done the work, but it's been every single person that has helped me along the way, because every single person has been a vessel for my higher power. And I see that in people. GOD, group of drunks, you know, Great Outdoors. It's the little things that I used to be like, oh, that's a coincidence. The fuck? It's higher power literally nudging me along, or saying, hey, go in and see Han and say this. And I've cried so many times in the Love Shack, because it's just, it wrecks me, because I'm like, holy crap, that is divine intervention to its finest. In the moments where I think I'm about to break, or the moments I'm like, maybe I'm not supposed to, this is all being built up so it can fail and break me again. I'm just like, no, dude, like, I have to go through that.
If that's the case, then that's the case.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I'm like, okay, once you surrender to that plan, that you're like, dude, I'm not in control here. Yep. You know, like, I am going to move with this voice that speaks into me, this energy that I feel, you know. And I actually met with a pastor of a pretty big church recently, and we talked a lot about that, right? Like, how do I know what's my desire versus God's will? And, you know, he said something that I thought was really interesting, right? And it's like, if you're taking credit for all the successes, you're going to feel responsible for the failures, right? But if you're not, and you're in the other place, the failures won't matter to you because God will take care of it.
Yeah.
You know, and you can just kind of give that away and move that. So he's like, that's a really good indication of like, hey, maybe you're getting, you know, your own desires mixed into this a little bit too much.
Yep.
But he's like, there's definitely room for that, right? Like God put those things in our heart, and there's room for chasing those desires and, you know, having the things that we want in our life. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Definitely. Like the two doors, like one door is locked, but it looks like really enticing or whatever. Right. And you're just like, no, I really need to go through this door. And you're just like, this other door is unlocked. It almost seems like too good to be true. And it's like, you go to bust down that door, and on the other side is a cliff, and you fall, and you have to deal with falling. It's like, but you push through that instead of just trusting, and the higher power is going to get you to the better door. And it's so hard because when you're like, when I'm emotionally and mentally and physically worn out, my cup is low, and I'm not working my program, and I'm trying to just be strong and be tough, like Dad told me, just push through, just keep on going. It's like, but if I don't take care of myself, then my doubts and all, like the demon on my shoulder is like, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And it just fuels that. And if I'm actually putting my sobriety first and taking care of myself, then all those, like, I have the energy to make those good choices, and I don't feel depleted. I don't feel like everything is life or death. It's just like, oh, this is happening for me, and this is why. And
dude, and that's an actual, it's crazy. I realize this, like, gratitude is an actual emotion.
Yeah.
You know, like you actually can feel it. You know, and it was more like for me in work and things like that, it was like we would write affirmations, right? We would do gratitudes, like, but I don't think I really ever connected my soul to that, my spirit, right? Like, and it's like, dude, when you think about that stuff, like, bro, I drank for 20 fucking years, like almost cut my hand off by punching a window. You know, like my mom had to kneel on my arm. Today I have 2 kids, a job that brings in 6 figures or more. Yeah. You know, the opportunity to do a podcast and pour into other people. Like when you actually start to feel that gratitude, holy shit, dude. Yep. It changes everything. Yep. You know, it's like I don't take naps in the afternoon anymore. Right? Like I have this natural energy that's like I get excited to go in and see the other people in my office and help them with projects and see my clients and pour into their life. I'm not afraid when the phone rings, you know, and it was like all of that stuff was real, super fucking real, you know, and I just think that alcohol and drugs amplify all that shit, all the negative shit, and they isolate you, you know, and you start to become this person that even you don't recognize, you know, and all it takes is pick up the phone. And give one of us a call. Stop by Love Shack on 4th Street.
Go on a walk.
Go on a walk. Connect with something spiritual, you know, higher than yourself.
Definitely.
But, Han, before we end, one, I want to say thank you for your vulnerability.
Of course.
I mean, your story is amazing. And I'm really happy that I get to be a part of what you're doing with Love Shack.
Me too.
Thank you.
Of course.
For that. We were very grateful.
Thanks for supporting.
What would be the one piece of advice if you had to leave with everybody, like what would you say?
I kind of use this quote for the last podcast and take it out of a big old book that I've read before. It may not be the book that everybody reads, but this one's super cool and it's blue. But
I think I've got one right there.
Yeah, you can't judge the ugliness of a few trees. You're gonna miss the beauty of the entire forest. I know I'm paraphrasing that super wrong.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, you're gonna miss out on the beauty of the entire forest if you just focus on the ugliness of a few of its trees. Like, you really gotta. It's a case by case situation. There can be really bad people out there or bad situations, but I have hope that, you know, people will see past these stereotypical things about me or sobriety or trans people or whatever it may be, you know, even unrelated, anything that in your life where you're judging one person or one thing for the whole entire thing. It's like, that's not fair because that one person doesn't represent the whole thing.
Right.
You as a podcaster don't represent all of podcasters, you know? And so I think having a little bit more of that open-mindedness to realize that like we all are just here trying to make it work and what we're all spiritual beings having a human experience, and it's hard here.
It is hard, man. And that's what I'm trying to tell my kids too. Like this is the best your life is ever going to be. You know, like enjoy it, because when you get older, it gets hard.
Yeah.
You know, and people are complicated. They're confusing.
Yep.
You know, and you're right. Like, that's why we wanted to start this.
Yeah.
You know, one, to destigmatize sobriety. You know, two, my ultimate goal is to start a rehab facility in Northern Colorado that's completely free.
That's sweet.
You know, and it's donor funded.
Yeah.
By the community, and
this is the seed for that tree.
Exactly, man. Like, that's what I'm like. That's where my heart is. Like, I just want to give what I experienced through rehab, through recovery. I just want to give that to the people that need it, right? And that want it,
that deserve it,
and don't have to fucking pay for it. You know, there shouldn't be that way.
So many people that don't go because they can't.
Exactly. I mean, we got Medicaid, dude. You could go in and get a fucking procedure done for free.
Yeah.
You know, but we have nothing available for alcoholics, right? These people don't have money.
Yep.
You know, it's fucking 10 grand on the cheap end.
Well, yeah.
So that's our ultimate goal, right? Like, and then to have these conversations, to gain knowledge.
You're giving me a platform to be able to share my story that maybe nobody would ever dare to even attempt to listen to.
Well, and it's not a secret where we stand in our political and spiritual beliefs, you know, but at the same time, I want to set an example, right? Of like, I can sit down with somebody that I disagree with on a very fundamental level and love on them, support them, listen to them, understand them. You know, that's what it's about, right? You don't know until you know.
Exactly.
And if you can't sit down with somebody and educate yourself on a different situation, then I honestly think you're a piece of shit. You know, I mean, that's my honest opinion. Like, we got to have a little more humanity than that.
We'll never know it all, and we'll never know it all. And I just continue telling myself I'm never going to know everything, but I have the ability to sit down and hear people and change what I thought I knew, because things change so often. It's like, I got to be able to hear. There's all a purpose. There's a reason I'm here. There's a reason it all fell through.
Absolutely.
And, you know, been talking about coming in, and it worked out, and that's a little divine intervention, and I hope it does, you know, just one person change.
Dude, that's the shit that lights me up, man. Like, I get goosebumps and I get excited, you know, and it's just like, I love that. Well, Han, thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for your story, your vulnerability, and, you know, just having this conversation with us. You know, I'm so glad that you are sober, that you are running Love Shack. It's honestly, it's an incredible bar. It's super fun. They have great drinks.
Dude, we changed a few of them, so you gotta come try.
They even got some
you're gonna be here today,
great lattes, and I was gonna say we'll be there this afternoon. Obviously, you guys aren't gonna hear this, but until like way past it. But every other Thursday, what's the date today? The 6th. So 2 weeks from the 6th, 2 weeks from that day, 2 weeks from that day, we'll always be there at the Mocktail bar, just connecting, trying to get to know each other, trying to do this kind of stuff, right? Build relationships. Understand things that maybe we don't know, and just love on each other, man. Support each other in life, sobriety, and business.
I guess they say connection is the opposite of addiction.
I think we were created for that. You know, that's just my personal opinion. I think we're created for community and to be around each other, and there's a reason that shit lights you up, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, well, Han, you're a fucking badass.
No, thanks, dude.
I am so grateful to know you, and thank you again for coming on today.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks, Rocky.
All right, guys, listener, thank you. Rocky, thanks for being in here. I'm sure we'll hear your little paws hitting the wood. But, guys, we just want to say thank you again. We hope that you get something out of this episode, and we will be back next week. Aaron, anything you want to add?
God bless everybody.
My little mousy co-host. All right, love you guys. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.